Welcome to my handheld retro game series, where over the next 5 episodes, I'm going to be showing you my 5 most favourite handheld games from my childhood. Starting off with Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warriors, which is a Game Boy Color game released in the year 2002. So it's over 20 years old now, and I still think it's aged fantastically for its gameplay. Now, this isn't just one of my most favourite handheld games, it's also, just in general, probably my favourite Dragon Ball Z game. Which, yes, with the amount of Dragon Ball Z games there are, or just Dragon Ball series games, that is quite a bold claim. But I've never put so many hours into a Dragon Ball game as I have Legendary Super Warriors. So what is it, and why do I like it so much? Well, it is a pretty simple collectible card game, where you do get to play as nearly every single character that appeared in Dragon Ball Z, and it being a turn-based game, it goes against the grain of most other Dragon Ball Z games where it's mostly a beat-em-up or just some sort of fighting game. Whereas with Legendary Super Warriors, you've got to collect cards, build a deck, and strategically beat your opponent. And the main story starts with Raditz and goes all the way through to Kid Buu. So it is the entire Dragon Ball Z series. So looking a bit more in depth into the game, I think one of my favourite parts of this game was the replay value. There's not many games which I can think back on and think I want to replay that over and over, especially the main story. Once I beat a main story, I tend to leave that and just do extra bits. But with Legendary Super Warriors, you get rewarded for completing the story more than once. So on your first playthrough, you're going to unlock all of the heroes, and on your second playthrough, if you do a few things correctly, which is quite easy to do, you can unlock all of the villains. And as a kid, being able to play as Frieza, Cell, Majin Buu, that was a big draw for me, and a lot of games when I was younger didn't really let you play as the bad guy, so this was a nice turn. Now, another good thing about the game, as a kid, it wasn't the hardest game to complete. There is some decent strategic aspects to the game. You've got the deck building, you've got trying to guess your opponent's moves, because amongst your deck you can put powerful cards in there, but you've also got your limit cards, where you can choose cards that your character can use, and then when you power up during the game, you can always have these cards readily available. You just have to sacrifice one turn to power up, and then you can use your big attack whenever you want. And with this power up lasting 2 turns, you've got to guess when your opponent is going to use their big move, or if they're just going to try gain some points for their next turn. And more often than not, the enemy will be quite annoying and just slip in a powerful card into their normal deck so they can use a big attack move outside of powering up, which can really throw you off. And you can use a card that's going to avoid the attack, or less the damage you're going to receive from the attack. Adds a nice amount of difficulty to the game, but nothing too strenuous. As a kid, deck building wasn't something I was the best at, but in this game, deck building was actually fairly easy. There was some translation issues, so some of the cards, you really don't understand what they meant as a child. Even replaying the game now as an adult, some of the cards, their descriptions are not very clear. But the game has an active Discord, which the link for that is in the description if any of you are interested. And the members of this Discord are all extremely friendly. They're very helpful. They can tell you exactly what any description means, as well as some fantastic people have created some Google Sheets, which give all the information you need to unlock certain characters, as well as, again, explaining those descriptions I talked about with bad translations. So if this is a game you think you want to pick up and play, then I would definitely get on that Discord and chat with some fellow Dragon Ball Z fans without the toxicity. If I had to pick out one highlight from this game, it would have to be being able to fight as Piccolo against Android 17, which in Dragon Ball Z is my favourite fight in the entire series, which I know it's a bold claim, everyone's got their favourite fight, but for me, Piccolo being my favourite character, and that was his moment in Dragon Ball Z, going up against one of the strongest villains at that time in the series. And then I get to replay that fight in this game, which was just a fantastic highlight for me. As well as getting to play as the Ginyu Force, you get to play as Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, and even Super Vegito. What more can you ask for, really? And each unit has their own unique cards. They won't have many, but they all range from about 1 to 4 unique cards, which are only playable by that character. So you can see Piccolo's final light bomb, you can use a spirit bomb with Goku, and for me, it just made the game that much more fun to play. Now let's talk about remakes, sequels. What has happened since this game was released? Not a lot in terms of official games. Unfortunately, No sequel or official remaster was ever released, which is so frustrating because this would have made a fantastic Nintendo Switch game, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, the 3DS. They could have all done some fantastic things with this game, but this was its only official release. Luckily for us, on that Discord I mentioned, there are some people who have modded the game in an unofficial aspect. They've added new characters, so you can now play as Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Janemba's on there, so lots of different characters which were not in the original game. And they are even working on an updated, modern version of the game as well, which, fingers crossed, will be available very soon. So thank you for watching episode 1 of my retro handheld series. See you all next time. If you did enjoy the video, please do hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye!